Is it possible to ace a midterm after studying for just 1 hour?
I've posted a series of 10 videos to Instagram with the exact same hook. Those 10 videos alone have cumulatively gotten 24 million views. But not just that, they've gained me 94,000 followers on Instagram. They've also cumulatively gotten like over 30 million views on TikTok. So in this video, I'm gonna teach you the exact 4 steps that I use to find this viral format so you can find your own viral format that you can repeatedly go viral with. Because at the end of the day, on Instagram and on TikTok, about 80% of your followers are gonna come from like 20% of your videos. And this is the viral series that was for me. It's 10 videos that I posted onto Instagram that got me 94,000 followers. And I'm also going to walk you through exactly what I personally do in my own viral videos. So you can actually study like what I did to go viral, because I've taught many people as well to go viral by following these fundamentals. And we're gonna cover exactly that in this video, zero gatekeeping, all right? First step in how to find your viral format. And this is something that I don't see any creators talking about for some reason, any of these content gurus. It's to study creators outside of your niche. Everybody says, oh, find the creators who are popping in your niche. I actually think that's kind of meh advice. The reason why I think it's mid advice is because if you're trying to copy just people within your niche, you're probably not going to innovate. It's like in the business niche when everybody's trying to copy Daniel Dalen, when in reality, Daniel Dalen was probably taking inspo from like Casey Neistat. Or it's when everybody was trying to copy like Alex Hormozy in the business niche. And everyone was trying to do Hormozy's style of editing when Hormozy's style of editing was frankly shit. It's really bad. But then everybody for some reason, like monkeys, were just copying the way he was doing content. And it does not work. One of the most goated pieces of advice that I got to study creators not in my niche. So I am in the business and college niche, or at least I was, and then I dropped out of college. But when I was finding this format, I purposely studied this creator, Ryan Trahan, an entertainment, travel, and food creator who's also very goated at content in general and storytelling. And I studied his videos. I would watch them on repeat and I would literally put out a pen and paper and write down the exact, why did he put that shot there? Why did he put that piece of B-roll there? Why did he put that text caption there? Why did he zoom in there? And then I wrote down all of his most viral hooks. And then eventually it jogged my ideas to find the is it possible hook. Like, feel free to steal the is it possible hook. Honestly, I've seen people literally copy the video word for word, and that's fine. And they have gotten 1 million+ views, okay? But if you want to find your own viral format for longevity's sake, I do recommend you do this process of understanding and training your viral sense by studying creators outside of your niche that are consistently pulling 1 million+ views. And if you can do that and then apply it to a niche that they are not in, that's how you can absolutely dominate. And I'll put this into perspective. Imagine if you are trying to dominate, let's say, the smartphone market, right? Which is already obviously very saturated with companies like Apple, and then also you got like the Androids and whatnot, right? But let's say you're trying to dominate the smartphone niche, where you're probably not gonna try and go into like the US market, where everybody's already obviously knows of Apple. So you're just gonna look like an Apple clone. But what if you were literally to go to like the random streets of like a rural third world country that has never seen iPhones before? I'm not gonna name specific countries because I don't wanna profile and stereotype and then be called a racist because people are gonna be like, yo, that country actually does have iPhones. Okay, you get my fucking point. Do not try to compete in the US where everybody knows Apple. Instead, what if you just created an iPhone, right? You call it the Z phone, and then you dropped it in like a random country that nobody's even ever heard of iPhones before. You would print. And the same goes with your content niche. Okay, this is kind of a butchered analogy, but the same goes with your content niche. If you're trying to dominate a niche, don't study like other creators in your niche who are absolutely printing already. If anything, go into other markets and then figure out what they are doing and dominating, and then pull literally their scripts, pull their hooks, and pull their concepts, and then throw them into your own niche. Before I get into the viral script fundamentals, something I want you to understand is that there is no silver bullet to virality that just is finding a viral format. Finding a viral format is good, but I've seen a lot of creators with really decent ideas and really decent concepts that are super novel, but they just don't know how to script, and their videos are inherently like poorly made. The next 2 parts of this are less about finding your viral format and more so the fundamentals of how to actually maximize once you find that viral format through scripting and editing. And if you are averaging less than 10,000 views on your videos, please listen the hell up. This definitely applies to you. I came here for the viral sauce, so like I need to find a viral format, and the viral format's gonna save all my problems, and I'm gonna get 1 billion views tomorrow. Like, ah, man, like this is why you are stuck, man, because you don't want to understand scripting. So let's dive into it. How does viral scripting actually work? Okay, so the first step in your hook needs to solve these two things if you want to go viral. The first thing you need to solve for in your hook is specificity, because inside your hook, if you're not being specific, then a viewer is just simply not going to be able to understand. It's hard for a viewer to actually have buy-in into your video if your video isn't specific. And what I mean by specific is using very specific names, places, time frames, and numbers. And if you can use very specific time frames and numbers, that can instantly 10x the viral potential of your hook. So notice here in the viral hooks that I have used, ace an exam in 1 hour, or make $1,000 in 1 day. And you'll notice this with like the most famous Mr. Beast titles as well. Notice how they all have a very specific number in them, like $1 yacht versus $1 million yacht. The same can apply for short form content. If you think that the most viral YouTube creators are using very specific numbers in their titles because they trigger some deep psychological association that viewers have with numbers, why don't you apply that to your own short film hooks? Why are you saying, is it possible to ace an exam after studying for a little bit of time? Just say ace an exam in 1 hour, choose a very specific time frame. That's how important the number is, that I've literally revolved my video idea around the number rather than vice versa, rather than trying to do, okay, I'm studying and I need to cram it in 1 day and I have like this vague amount of time, how do I make a video around that? No, it's like, well, viewers are probably gonna find it most interesting if it's a very short and specific amount of time. I've seen people do, is it possible to ace my final after studying for 12 hours? And they still get like, I think like 500,000 views on the video too. So I've seen it work with like 12 hours. It doesn't really matter what the time frame is. I've also seen creators do hooks like 593 days ago, I built this Airbnb in the woods in Virginia. Okay, I butchered that hook, but like there are creators who very specifically use time frames and a very specific number, 500 days ago, 600 days ago. The more that you can use these specific numbers, the more that your viewer is going to better visualize whatever you're talking about in their brain. And the better that a viewer can visualize whatever story that you are telling, and the quicker that they can have this mental association that instantly makes them visualize something as you speak, the more quickly they will be retained on your video and the more likely that they're actually going to stay, boost your watch time, and as a result, your views go up. Now, this is the more nuanced part of creating content, and it's the actual body of your script. Now, this looks pretty hefty, but basically, with the body of your script, you want to utilize speed and specifically ruthlessly cut out any unnecessary detail in your script. I'll show you a very specific example because this is actually incredibly important, and you can ruthlessly cut out details in your editing process too. A lot of times, if I have a 60-second video, in my editing process after I've done my first rough draft, it'll be like 2 minutes long. And the goal for me is to cut out any detail that slows down the video. And there's details that stagnate the video, and there's details that are just completely irrelevant. So I want you to ruthlessly be able to identify what are unnecessary details that don't relate back to your hook, right? Which involves these specific numbers and timeframes and names, and then a relatable pain point, which is basically just a result that somebody relates to. So ace an exam is obviously pretty relatable. It's a lot of people are going through exams. And then starting a business is a lot more relatable than scaling a business. For example, I've literally like battle tested this. Whenever I talk about scaling my business, it'll probably get like 100K views max. If I talk about starting a business, it has the potential to hit 1 million views. This literally means a 10x in the total addressable market of my video, just because it's more relatable. Because the actual percentage of people who are in scaling mode of a business is literally like 10x in population, right? Versus the people who've never made a single dollar online. Of course, it's going to be a much higher population of people who want to start but never have started. Okay, it's just the nature of human beings. In the body of your script now, in order to make sure your viewer doesn't get bored, you really want to develop this skill of ruthlessly cutting out unnecessary details. Even though my studying video was about studying, the studying in the video itself only lasted on screen about 20 seconds out of the 62-second video. So the question I want you to ask yourself when you are revising your script, or even while you are scripting and you're like halfway done, you're like, okay, this is kind of getting wordy. Should I like should I redo my video? Should I redo the entire script? No, just I want you to continuously ask yourself, does this sentence relate directly to the hook? So let's say my hook is ace an exam in 1 hour. I want to continuously ask myself in this script, does it relate directly to the hook? So let's take a look at this script here, this little tidbit of a script. I finished studying then met with my friend for lunch. We met and ate lunch. We ate tuna tacos at the dining hall. We talked about what we thought about the exam. Do you think you're gonna do well? Lol, no, I studied 1 hour. Eventually, we made a bet. Whoever scores lower has to buy a meal. Now it was time for the exam. So obviously, if you're not directly colorblind, you'll notice that this is directly made in red because it's obviously irrelevant. I met with my friend for lunch. We met and ate lunch. Now, one of these sentences alone isn't going to make or break your retention, but combining literally 3 irrelevant sentences, 1, 2, 3, 4 irrelevant sentences. It's gonna slow down your video so much, and this happens so often, and especially in a 60-second short form video, you don't have the luxury of dilly-dallying on screen, talking about things that just aren't directly related to your hook. So I finished studying. That is directly related because it's a necessary detail to knowing what is happening in this video, right? But if I ever say it again, I finished studying, man, finishing studying feels so good. And now that I'm finished studying, I'm going to take a break. Like, you don't have to repeat yourself 3 times. Just say it once and get it done with, okay? And that's the difficult part is like, you might think, wow, like I really want to show how tired I was after I was finished studying. When in reality, a viewer, if you really, really empathize and put yourself in their shoes, probably is just thinking, oh, I'm just curious to see what the result they got on the exam is. They're not thinking about your video that deeply. Okay, so I want you to remove any biases that you have with your own script when you are actually scripting and revising and editing your videos. And I want you to ask yourself, is this actually necessary? Can I get away with cutting it out? And rule of thumb is if you can actually get away with cutting it out and it still makes sense and the video actually still makes sense, cut it out. And I guarantee it'll make your video feel so much faster paced. So if it's not directly injecting either a necessary detail or an actual dopamine hit to your viewer, right? Keyword dopamine hit. If it's actually so entertaining that you have to leave it in, if it's so funny, sure, leave it in. But have a little bit of empathy for your viewer and understand if this is boring or kind of irrelevant or I just like the detail, it's probably going to hurt your retention. So that's why I literally chose to cut out all of these parts. And even this conversation, now this is where it probably is interesting, right? For those of you guys who've actually scripted a video before, you might think, oh, but this part's kind of interesting. A conversation about studying, isn't that related to the exam? Obviously, freaking tuna tacos at the dining hall is completely irrelevant. Obviously cut that out. Do you think you're gonna do well? No, I studied 1 hour. That's actually one of those game time decisions where you have to think, is this redundant? And I think it is. Because let's say in this sentence, right? I studied 1 hour. No shit, the viewer already knows that because you said it once and then you reinforced it with the clips of you studying. Why are you saying it again 3 times now? You don't need to say it again. Just cut it out. Okay, and do you think you're gonna do well? This part you could leave in. Okay, so this is one of those orange areas where you could leave it in. It's not gonna be the biggest deal in the world because it somewhat gives some context, but if you just stack a bunch of these irrelevant points, like, okay, now you're talking to your friend about, how you studied for 1 hour, and then you talk to your other friend about how long did you study? Oh, how long did you study? We get it, bro. You're here to answer the question though at the end of the day. Is it possible to ace an exam after studying for 1 hour? You're not answering that question by side tangenting and talking to your friend about what they think they're gonna get on the exam or how long they studied. These are side tangents that are about 60% related. They're related just about this part. They're not related to this, and they're not related to this. Acing and 1 hour. So as a result, you have to make the game time decision while you're scripting to be able to cut out things that are completely redundant and completely irrelevant. And this is the nuanced science of content writing that nobody else will teach you somehow. And I genuinely think it's because it's kind of boring. And this kind of stuff, it'll likely pass through a lot of people's ear and go out the other. Because it's kind of hard and you require some critical thinking and it requires you to actually look at your script one more time before you actually film it and ask yourself, is this 100% quality? Or am I 70% there, but there's still a good 30 seconds of the script that I can cut out? And I guarantee if you don't think you can cut out 10 seconds from your video, you can probably cut out 30. I guarantee, especially if it's not going viral yet. Eventually, this is just another one. This is fluff, eventually. So a lot of times I'll literally just cut out fluff fluff words, right? That saves an extra, maybe this is 0.5 seconds in the video. Is this going to make or break your video alone? No, 0.5 seconds of dead space or of redundant words or fluff words are not gonna make or break your script, but if you keep adding them up, eventually 0.5 seconds, added up multiple times, turns into 10 seconds. And 10 seconds in a 60-second video is huge. At the end of the day, views on social media are determined by this thing called the retention graph. And this is what people start at, 100%, right? 100% of the viewers who are shown the video are initially retained. And the more that you can actually keep your viewers retained, like this on the graph, you're more likely to go viral. So if, for example, 50% of your videos or viewers are watching until the end, or even like 30 seconds in, that's an insane retention graph. In fact, if even 50% of the people are still watching past the first 5 seconds on Instagram, that's insane. That's actually like, it's probably gonna go viral. This video itself, if I go back here, most of these videos had around like a 49% skip rate in the first 5 seconds. Most of the time people are still gonna scroll. That's just the nature of social media. But if you can bump it up even just a little bit by killing redundant sentences, by the end of the video, instead of maybe getting like 10% retention by the end of the video like you usually do, maybe you've just bumped it up 20%. Because literally look, even if your video is just a little bit shorter, like it's already beating your previous video's retention by a decent percentage points because it's shorter. Let's say the average viewer watch time is like 50 seconds on your video, which is absurd. That's absurdly high, but let's just say it is, right? That video is probably getting like 20 million views. But let's say your average viewer watch time is 50 seconds. If that is on a 2-minute video, that's not that good, right? That's not impeccable. But if it's 50 seconds, right? And mind you, this just like never happens, by the way, but these are just arbitrary numbers. Let's say 50 seconds on a 60-second video. Instagram sees that and they're like, wow, the entire video is insanely well made and retains people's attentions insanely well. I need to push this out to all of our viewers, and that's what they're gonna do. Lastly, in terms of scripting and editing, I want to talk about viral editing, because scripting will get you about 50% there, where you actually now have a very compelling series of words that you're saying to the camera that's going to help your video do well. But let's move on to editing itself. What actually makes a video go viral in editing? And there's 2 principles that I pretty much see are universal in terms of content. The first one is using auto captions, and my best recommendation is to do 2 to 3 words at a time. And I'll show an example here of what that looks like on screen. And my second recommendation for my auto captions is to use this font TikTok Sans, or if you're actually finding it inside CapCut or inside TikTok, it's literally just called the classic font. And the reason why I always tell people to use the classic font is because TikTok and Instagram viewers are so attuned to just simply watching what is familiar. Because once you are in this scrolling mindset, where you are in this consumer mindset, you're scrolling through your iPhone and you're just watching reels, you're literally there to continue consuming what is already comfortable. You're literally in a state of trying to feel comfortable. That's what scrolling is. You're going through this like kind of dopamine emotional slot machine so you can actually feel slightly comfortable and probably escape your problems. That's what people do when they are scrolling social media. And the worst thing that you want to do is use captions or use like some sort of editing style that is completely different from what people have seen on the platform. Unless you are literally like Da Vinci of editing, do not try to beat the norm. Do not try to distinguish yourself from the norm of editing, because I guarantee, and I would consider myself still in like the top 1% of editors, and I still don't try to break this norm because I understand how strong the viewer biases are when it comes to actually watching videos that are familiar and watching fonts and text that are visually familiar. And the second thing I want you to do is cut out all dead space. Now, dead space in a video is any time that you take a pause or a break in your words. And I'm talking if the piece of dead space is literally even just like 0.3 seconds. If it's over 0.3 seconds, cut it out. And you'll notice it in the timeline. You'll notice when there's just a little break between the words. It can literally last as long as these breaks that I'm doing right now. Cut those breaks out. It's gonna make your video feel so much more snappy and choppy. And this is one of those things that even like top editors that I have worked with, like people whose literal careers are in editing, they still don't do this. So if you can do this as a creator, you're already going to stand out from 90% of videos that are made out there on the internet, just are slightly slower. And I guarantee the most viral videos will not take breaks of dead space. And the only times a creator will actually have dead space is if they literally have to breathe and they're not doing any cuts in their videos, which there are creators who make 0 cuts in their videos. But unless you are the most charismatic, most entertaining speaker and you're so talented at this gift, you need to play this game of retention and cut out the dead space. And I hate when people and these like content hacks and growth hacker people tell you, be yourself on camera. When in reality, being yourself probably just entails being inexperienced on camera. Do you have theater experience? Do you have acting experience? Public speaking experience? If not, you're probably not going to be goated from the get-go. So cut out all dead space. And in your editing process as well, hunt for these directly irrelevant words and cut them out. Cut them out as if you are literally like a headhunter, that if you see any irrelevant sentence, even slightly, you get disgusted and you have to eradicate that shit, okay? That's how important these two things are. And I guarantee you just do these two things and then you pair it with a viral format and a decent idea, you will be able to replicate virality. And this is a skill set that takes time. Like I said, I posted 10 of these videos, and yes, these are literally all 10 times I've like used this format of the Is It Possible hook. It's pretty much gone viral every single time I've done this style of content. That doesn't mean that's the only videos I've ever posted. And I specifically saved this Is It Possible style of video for a challenge video where I'm actually going out and doing something. Like, I'm not gonna say, is it possible to get a hotel in Seoul, Korea and film 3 videos? Like, no shit it is. Of course it's possible. The viewer's not gonna be curious about that. I don't care about that idea. I only save it for ideas that I find interesting. Like, is it possible to learn a backflip in 1 hour, right? That's my most recent iteration of this video. Got 1 million views, didn't get that many follows though because it didn't have any talking in it. That's a completely other concept, right? But something I do want to highlight, in order to actually get to this point where you can see this level of growth, you need to post a ton of videos, because yes, that's 10 videos in a viral series that got 94,000 follows and 24 million views. It took a ton of consistency to get there. And I want to highlight this by literally showing you my Instagram account. This is my Instagram account sorted by the lowest viewed videos. And you can see there are so many videos that have not gone viral. There are so many videos that are nowhere near as good as the Is It Possible series of videos. And as I get to the top, obviously you're gonna see more of the Is It Possible videos, but there are so many videos. It's literally an endless scroll of videos. These are all videos that I've pretty much posted in the past 2 years. All of these videos, I've posted around 400 videos in the past 2 years. You can see there's just so many, an endless scroll. And as I get to the top, you can start seeing the Is It Possible series of videos. This one, this one, this one, and this one, right? But in order to get there, right, this is literally 481 reels on my account, right? So about 400 of them, or maybe like 430 to 440 of them were posted in the last 2 years. So I really want to highlight that in order to get to that skill level of being able to get in 10 videos, 94,000 followers, you need to build up these skill set over so much time. Because this is probably you here. This is your skill level at making content, which directly correlates with your ability to go viral. Because virality is not something that you just unlock one day. You get lucky and then you get like one lucky video hits 1 million views, you get like 3,000 followers from that. Great, that's a dopamine hit. And I know that's more than most people have ever gotten in their life, but just hear me out for a second. Hear me out, because if you are actually in the business of making content, something that you will do long-term as some form of a career, okay, whether it's brand deals, whether it's building your own business, whether it's doing like UGC, if this is something that you are serious about, please listen up. So all the gooners are gone now. Treat it like a skill set. And skill sets are obviously built with time and consistency. So this is the x-axis, time. Now, most people never reach the point of actually developing the skill, because this probably takes like 3 years. To get to my level of skill, it'll take you between 1 to 3 years. I've seen creators in my community who've like learned from me directly and then speed ran this shit in about 1 year, right? And there's a couple creators who have done this and hit around like 300,000 plus followers in the span of a year, right? There are creators who learn this skill much faster, but I guarantee you're not gonna learn it faster than a year. Okay, I promise you, you're not gonna get to like 300,000 followers faster than a year. And I would say in order to even make this a full-time income, you realistically just need to hit like 50K followers. The most important thing that I want to highlight over 1 to 3 years is consistency. I'm gonna draw something in purple, which is your views. Now your views, your average views on your videos is probably gonna look something like this right now. It looks something like this, right? It's pretty low. This is the difference if you were to actually simply be consistent. And I just realized this is a y-axis variable, but let's say you're actually starting to be consistent with your videos. What you're gonna notice is that it's going to do this. It's going to feel like you're plateauing. But eventually, once you start mastering the things, like making your videos concise, actually following the viral editing fundamentals, and then you recognize with humility that your videos are probably shite if they're getting less than 10,000 views, and then slowly building up the skill set. Eventually, over time, your peaks and valleys will become higher and higher, and eventually this will be your views graph. But this is you if you actually stayed consistent posting, and I'm talking daily, every single day. And that's the hard part of building the skill set of content. It's not having talent, it's not getting lucky, it's just staying consistent for like literally posting consistently daily, or even at least weekly, following some weekly cadence for longer than like 2 weeks. I promise you, if you can do this, you will actually build the skill set of content creation. But most people who want to go viral, they want to become influencers, they're missing one of two things. They're either posting somewhat consistently, but they're posting slop, where they're not actually pushing themselves to learn viral scripting fundamentals. They're not actually studying outside creators and asking themselves, what is the difference between their content and my content? And they're not actually trying to make their videos 1% better every time they edit them. And I know this, I've seen this because I run a creator community of paid members in our Discord server who literally pay to learn content creation. And I see the ones who improve over time and I see the ones who literally don't. And it's a factor of consistency, specifically consistently posting and constantly improving your videos 1% better every single time. And that is the difficult part of content creation. All of this doesn't matter if you can't even be consistent. If you're watching this and you are actually serious about your content growth, I want you to answer me this, right? Feel free to comment. If you're here until this point in the video, that means you actually care. Let me know in the comment section if you can actually promise me that you're gonna post consistently for the next at least 7 days. 7 days, give it 7 days. And if that is so, I actually made a 7-day guide to starting content creation. And I'm gonna link that video in the first link in the description. But it's basically this video. It's a full course on how to start your personal brand. And it's literally a 6-video guide. It's 3 hours long. It's gonna take you the next 7 days. If you are serious about content creation, feel free to go watch that next video, linked in the description. That being said, subscribe for more content like this. And let's actually blow up our creator careers and make this a full-time thing. All right?